Hi there, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Paint Party Livestream. I'm so glad to have you in the studio with me yet again this week. We are going to continue some work that we had done last week. It worked out really well, and I think that we can continue to add some detail to the painting behind me, so we'll continue doing that. If you've been here before, you know how this live stream works. It's really laid back. You can pop in, pop out, stay as long as you'd like, but I do enjoy interacting with you throughout the live stream, so feel free to comment wherever you're watching us. You can engage in the comments, asking questions, making comments as we go through this evening. This is my Learn to Paint journey. A few years ago, I started teaching myself to paint and bringing you along every week here in my studio. So this is just a continuation of that process. All right, let's jump into this evening's work. Usually we start a new painting and see how far we can get through the evening, but I have, as many of you know, paintings piled up all around me, trying to work through some of the backlog and get some of these paintings done. So you'll probably see some that you've seen before as we add more detail and get these wrapped up. So that is no difference this evening. This evening we are going to work on the painting of Mont Saint-Michel in France. This is a large painting, so there is a lot of detail work to do, and we did a lot last week, but we'll continue with that this week and see if we can get a significant portion of the detail work on the mountain done this evening. All right, I'm going to jump over here to the direct camera as I rearrange things. I want to say hi, Lola. So good to see you as always. Hey, everybody joining in. Sid, I see you also in the room. Thanks so much for popping in shortly, or for a short amount of time. It's been forever since I've seen you. I'll have to make plans to stop in next time I pass through Northwest Arkansas. It would be great to catch up when I'm in the area again. Hey there, so good to see you as well, and I. Thanks for joining, everybody who's popping in. So glad to have you. So glad to have you. Hey, Bobby, great to have you. Thanks for popping in as well. Hope that you all are staying cool. Hi there, Mom and Dad. So glad to have you joining us. Yogesh as well. My goodness, we are a full room. So glad to have you. All right, let me show you what we're working from. These are my reference photos that are just off screen here. So that is what I am looking at. The grayscale we don't have to worry about so much because that was when we were first starting. But these other views of Mont Saint-Michel are the kind of reference photos that we're working off. I'm in New Orleans now. Oh, wow, really cool. I had no idea you had moved down there. New Orleans is such a great town. I didn't get to get back to New Orleans before I left Arkansas, so I would love to get back. I was actually supposed to go on a cruise out of New Orleans when I right when COVID hit. The week before, when they closed everything down, we were supposed to literally go on the very next cruise. I think it was March 23rd, and they stopped everybody coming back in on cruises. So at the time I was frustrated because I thought that would be the safest time to go on the cruise because everybody was being so cautious. But I'm glad I didn't go in a sense, because then we were... some people were not able to come back in the country, and entire cruise ships got quarantined because people were, it was just such a terrible time. So I need to get back to New Orleans, though. Not this time of year. Maybe September, October is a good time, or March, April is a good time to be in New Orleans. Not, especially now that I've moved out of the South, I've become quite a wimp when it comes to the heat. It's been hot here in the mountains, and I am complaining. I walked into my house. I went out to pick some berries, wild berries this afternoon, and got back, and it was 82 degrees in my apartment. So it's starting to cool down, though. I can feel the sun's going down. We have some clouds. We might get thunderstorms tonight, so it should cool down quickly because, of course, we don't have whole lot of humidity, although it's been more humid than we usually get recently. So that's the deal. All right, let's jump to the canvas. I'm going to switch you over to canvas view. I'm sorry there's a little bit of glare from my light there at the top. You'll notice we did a lot of this detail work the last, really just this hotel and this wall, the last live stream. So we're going to continue and I'm going to try to get the detail work on this section of the painting done this evening. So that is my goal, to get this detailed out, because if I can get that done, then really all we have is the Abbey, refining all of that, and that will probably take another 1 or 2 sessions. So that is the plan, Stan. All right. Thank you, Sid. This painting's about 2 feet by 2.5 feet, so it's a large one. Last year, I got an opportunity to go to Europe for the first time, and this was one of the places we stopped on the trip, and so I want to paint this and hang it in my living space. We did a couple of other smaller European paintings. I'm kind of doing a little series of paintings from my trip to Europe, so this will be the largest one, but that is what we're working on. Okay, you'll see there at the right of your screen my palette. So we're going to put out, really all we need to put out, I need to put my apron on before I do any of that, because I don't want paint on my clothes. So we will do that real quick. I'm going to put some white as well as the browns, the different browns that I use. As I mentioned last week, the difficulty really of this painting and what I've learned so much is figuring out the way, because this stone is all hewn from there was another island, there are a couple of other islands just off of this island, and basically all of the stone from the Abbey and the surrounding town was quarried from those other islands, and it was brought over during low tide or high tide. They would float it over and then be able to use the stone. But that being said, the stone obviously has a lot of natural variations in it, and so getting it to read correctly, where it's essentially all some variation of this kind of tannish color, but getting this to all look so that it reads that this is behind this and this is in front of this is that's the challenge. New York cooled down a bit the past 2 days. Oh, that's great. Oh, last night I didn't need AC. Oh, that is dramatically a cool down. I don't have AC. I have a little unit in my bedroom, but I don't turn it on very often because it doesn't work very well. Only if it's just really, really hot and I just can't stand it. But it's been getting down into the 60s at night, I think. But to really, really cool down my apartment, I need it down in the 50s, so that by morning it's, 65 to 67. Only way to escape the heat is to travel to the southern hemisphere. Yes, or generally come up to the higher altitudes like where I am. Like I said, usually it's not very bad here at all. Okay, I need to quit jibber jabbering. I mean, I can jibber jabber, but I gotta also paint. So let me see. All right. All right, we have this wall. I like this wall and what is going on here. So let's continue. Yes, Australia, New Zealand, the southern hemisphere, all of South America. That was actually my plan when I moved up here, was to be able to go to Central South America or somewhere in the southern hemisphere for during the winter here, so that I could have summer, because our summers are generally really mild, but haven't been able to do that, but maybe sometime soon. All right, I put a lot of paint out. Probably shouldn't have done this much paint, but welcome to those of you just popping in. There's a few more people popping in. All right. Let's mix some. We want to begin to do some. I want to start on this end and put the shadow area in. So let's see if we can do that. And then come to the right. No such thing as too much paint. Well, this is true. However, it's so dry up here that putting out a lot of paint on my palette will dry up really fast. So that's kind of what I'm saying. Let's put in, let's see, can we do some this? Let's just see. We need a fairly gray tone for this shadow area. We do that by mixing this ultramarine blue with brown. That gives us a little bit of the gray. And that's a little trick I learned years ago. I was trying to paint birch trees and I couldn't get them to look like they were in the shadow. And then I was watching a paint tutorial and the painter said if you put purple in, make them a little bit purple, then they look like they're in the shadow. And I never would have thought of making white purple, obviously, because I just wouldn't. I never would have thought of that, but it's true. If you make this, essentially it's a grayish purple, then it automatically reads like it's in the shadow, see? We might want to lighten it just a little bit, but very quickly, if you do kind of a gray, then it reads and it gives you that dimension. And that's why I say to people that are like, oh, I could never paint, I say, well, it's actually not as difficult as you may think, because it is yeah, it's just not as difficult as you may think. Once you learn a tip like that, then it's like, oh, well, I can do that. That really helps. Okay. Now, let's do the same. We're going to brighten this up significantly and take some of, see, this is already dry here. That's how fast it dries up. If you hear motorcycle engines in the back, I apologize. We're about to head into next week, the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally here, which is a famous motorcycle event. And so there are lots, and by lots I mean hundreds of thousands of bikers headed to our part of the country, which seems like is a lot until you realize, and when you realize that the whole state of South Dakota only has 800,000 people. And if you suddenly have 300,000 bikers, definitely dramatically changes things. Okay, now I think we're gonna go, no, probably shouldn't have done that. Let's see what we can do. Lighten this up. Again, I want kind of that yellow tone, but not too yellow and not too bright. I want to mix this and come in here to our wall and reestablish the lines. This won't be exactly accurate, but it'll be pretty close. All right, I'm lightening this as we come this direction. It gets more sunlight above these. I'll come back and like put detail on these trees, but I really want to, because we'll bring these trees up into this. But again, only people who have, like, this is already recognizable as what it is. So yeah, people won't be, they won't be able, you know, or won't criticize and say, ooh, this is, there's a tree on that hill right over that rampart. Hey there, Bob G. Thanks so much for stopping in. It is good to have y'all joining me. Oh man, my studio's cooling down. Oh, that feels so much better. Every once in a while there will be a little bit of a breeze. I have fans on, but there will be a little bit of a breeze that comes through that Just chef's kiss. All right. Now, there we are. We have the wall now, just putting a definitive line in there. This line really helps the wall stand out. I do think though that this shadow area seems a little dark, doesn't it? Maybe not. Maybe that's okay because we're going over into that shadow area. Do you think I should lighten that up? I think Lola is definitely one of our longest. Part of me wants to go back to, I think this is episode, let me pop back to the beginning. Yeah, 111. So, man, can you guys believe 111? How crazy is that? But I think Lola's been here for probably 109 or 108 at least. Don't think she's missed very many, if at all. Makes me want to go back to the first ones and see which was the first one that, you know, different people joined in. It's kind of cool. I was telling my mom I would love to have a space here in town, a studio that's like outside of my home that has kind of a storefront where I could have people come in, and obviously we could do the virtual live stream, but also have people join us kind of just here in the studio. That would be really cool to me if we could do that, but we'll see. Maybe someday. Yeah, I think lightening this wall up a little bit helps it not look like it is such a right angle, but it's still kind of in the shadows. Wonder if we can try to put some of that shadow work in. We'll have to go up and really identify where these parts are. Yes, definitely a loyal viewer. Yeah, Lola's been loyal Lola. I don't know that I could say that quickly many times. Gnarly Pine Maker Space. Ask Jen for a night to be live. Yeah, I've thought of that space. That's kind of the thought I've had. The main thing is just having I don't have the equipment to be able to cart it back and forth, and that would be kind of a hassle. But yeah, it would be cool to be able to do it from Main Street there and have people pop in and have kind of the noise of the crowd in the background and just have all that energy. I think that would be really cool. Maybe something to strive for down the road. I think we can make it work. Okay, I'm yammering enough, not too much, but we have the wall. Now I want to jump over to this hotel and or whatever. I think it's a hotel or a house. I learned this past week, and I may have heard it on our tour when we were there, but there are only about 50, approximately 50 full-time residents of the town of Saint-Michel. So that's kind of cool. There are several hotels, bed and breakfasts, those types of businesses there. So I think someday I'd like to go back. It'd be cool to be able to stay there at night when the tide comes in, because there's no way off the island once the tide comes in. Over here on the left, there's actually a walking and driving bridge that goes out, but it is covered. This parking lot, there's a parking lot here, and it's covered when the tide comes in. So you can hang all your unfinished paintings and sell them as finish on your own. That is very true. I could do that, yeah. Put them up and say, hey, this was good enough for our live stream, but you have to finish it. That might work, actually. Okay, we want this one to come over to about here. I may have to correct some of the yeah, this is right in there is like where it ends. So we need to take that roof out. We'll have to do this. It's kind of right under the this part. I'm kind of looking, trying to line up so it's as accurate as possible. And then there's this wall continues over right there. So, but we need it to be a little more, wow, that this just dried up so quick. How does it dry so fast? Oh, I don't want it that dark. Want it a little more of the red tone. We don't want to look like we're in the shadow, so we got to keep brighten it up a little bit. But we definitely want it a little bit of a different tone than the house, so that it looks like a so it looks like a something. All right, let's see. Now, we will again come back to this gray. I want to redo this roof. So we'll paint over the windows. And we'll put the dormers back in. While we're doing that, can we do the again the we want a pretty bright wall here that comes out of this from behind this roof. Actually, I think what happens is this wall is actually connected down here, and this whole thing sits down about a ½ inch, but I'm not gonna reconfigure this whole thing to slide it down ½ inch, so we will just make it look like it kind of works. Because this actually connects to right here, or maybe this all, but that's okay. We'll make it work. Putting a little shadow along here, because if we don't put some variation in the stone, then it looks too flat. You have to have some really distinct variations. Okay, then up here there are some, I don't know what they are, but little shadows. There we go. Now, I think if I go in very carefully, I can take this color that I've mixed, maybe mix a little more. I can take this in and reestablish the shadows on this. So I want a shadow there. 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 Now I will take this and put in along the edge of the roof line, put a roof shadow. There we go. Then right below this is a window. Want to get as precise as possible. There. Again, nobody's going to say, oh, that house has 2 windows and not 3 or whatever, but it does help us to then we'll try to put in some over here. Another set of windows. We'll try to put in the suggestion of those. Thanks so much, my friend. Have a wonderful evening there in NOLA. I hope our paths cross in person soon. Thanks for stopping in. Have a great rest of your evening and a wonderful week. All right. Now I'm going to go up here and add the front of these dormers. So I'm kind of mixing that cream colored facade color. And we'll try to just go in there as, again, precisely as possible. We want to put them on the front side of it's amazing what you can, with just a few brush strokes, can suggest. It's like, oh, that's what that is. Welcome to those of you. There's a few new additional faces that have popped in. So glad to have you here on the live stream. All right, we got this, I believe. Might want to do a little bit of more work on that. This wall here, we may just need some additional variation in the stone. Again, we don't want it too uniform, because then we have just blocks and it looks like we didn't do any detail work. It just looks like it was just blocked in and left, so we don't want that. Okay. Since I have this on my palette, I'm going to go see where else it can go. Right at the I'm putting this line in again so that it is, and I can go in and add shadows and bushes and things around. But and that will also help me to putting the bushes, like that will help me create some lines as well. So, okay, we're taking this pretty bright. It's kind of brightish yellow color. Since it is working well, I want to take this up and see if I can establish some of the detail on the abbey itself, since we're just kind of moving up the mountain. Because I don't really want to come in and do a lot of detail on the I don't want to do a lot of detail on the, what am I trying to say? The trees, because I kind of want to do that all at once, but there are certain facades that will pop out with that, the brightness of the sun. Okay, I need to not go off the deep end. Stay right there, Steve. We'll just keep mixing a little bit this brown with the yellow and the white. Give us that bright, sunny so that it just reads that the sun is just really bright, because it was a super bright day. It was so beautiful, breathtakingly beautiful. The views both below and then up on the mountain. So what I want to do is come up here and bring this edge of this turret down. When I take out those windows and put them back in, I get as straight a bead on that shadow there as we can. Now what I want to also do is come back on this side and start looking. Okay, so this was a sunny, then over just there is a And we'll just keep working the Abbey until it's all, carving more and more of the details out of the rock. Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to deviate too much, but yeah, all of these walls and such. And that's what's difficult, is to get these solid lines at each layer of this edifice so that each looks like it's, supposed to be there, basically, and that everything works okay. Let's see. Figuring out okay, this now, we could take this kind of brownish color, the yellow, the light. We could take this for the highlight part over on this side. So let's see. Okay, we come across here, and then there's a rooftop there. Let's try to put this in. Right now I'm just drawing shapes. look at the difference between this color and this color. So on this side, but then the highlight over here is the shadow over here becomes the highlight over here. Isn't that crazy how that reads? So we will have to carve this out again. Now, let me see if I can. Okay, so this is that one. It comes down. Then this will be taken out, needs to be blue, I think. We'll have to keep carving out this. I think what I may regret this, but we'll see. Whoops. Oh, sorry. Now, y'all are quiet tonight. Oh, a few people dropped off, which is fine, just fine. But, okay, now we're going to take our sky color. I'm going to redo the sky probably towards the end, but let's take some of this blue because I want to draw, you know, very specific lines all around this. And then you want the sky to be consistent color-wise, so we will. That's really bright. Okay, we'll mix the blue. What I am basically wanting to do is carve out the so I think this is how this needs to go. out here, I think, then we have our basically goes. I think that's how this goes. It will help me to see the different levels of this, even though that's going to put a weird spot there. You can always paint over this, of course. It's pretty close. We need to bring that in still a little. Then the edge of the fortress, there's out here on the edge is this terrace that looks out toward the water. It's way out over here. Then we'll take some of this out. It's probably good if we cover some of that up anyway, because it'll take a couple of coats to cover. I'm taking out more than I need to right now, but this will allow me to go back in and paint that much more articulately. And have cleaner lines. That makes sense. We may do, I said last time that I might want to do a few, do paintings in the future where I do 2 or 3 weeks on one painting. So this is part of this is me testing that method to see if people get too bored of seeing the same thing, and can we see progress over time. I mean, obviously from my perspective we can, but it is what I probably should do is come in and do the sky the way I want, and then reestablish all my roof lines over the sky. But that would be too smart, wouldn't it? Too smart. we are. All right, again, putting some good lines in, all of a sudden detail starts to pop up. I'm gonna shrink that down a little bit. There you go. All right, well, we have a while left. I wanted to get this detailed. I wanted to get this detailed, which we did. We got this in, we got some of this, so we've gotten a lot more. We're starting to get this. I guess I can continue some of this to really build on what we have. Part of the thing we can do, because this I know that I created this too wide, the top of this tower. It is way too wide. So I'll have to redo the roof and such. But if we can come in and adjust that, I guess I should adjust this a little bit so you can see what I'm doing here. We'll have to redo those so they are. These need to be broader, so that's narrower, because these windows are narrower. But that gives us a better overall shape for the for this tower, because I really want it to feel like, because it feels so majestic that it is way up there. And I want it to have that perception. Okay. We'll see how this all plays out. Okay. I'm going to take a lot of that off so that we have to re-establish that, but I'm okay with that, because if we get this correct, these stages, we can always, I went in and did my underpainting just like very loosely, which is fine. I went in and just all over the place, but I think that it will help me to be able to redo some of this a little more easily. Okay. There we go. Thanks, Bobby. I appreciate it. We're getting there little by little. It's almost like a sculpture. You have to, you start with big, broad strokes, and then you get smaller and smaller things. And especially because I don't use any sort, well, on this especially, I didn't use any sort of graph or projection. It was all laying it in and then putting things in relation to each other. And there's so many different lines that lined up. I knew I wanted this in the center, and it comes down basically over this turret, and that comes down to over to this, and then the edge of that comes over here. So there's things are a little displaced, some of them, but for the most part, things are in the right place. But you can tell on the reference photo from the top to the bottom, I'm actually using the top reference as the main reference. I just put the bottom in there because I wanted it to be, let me show you. I wanted this ground so that it looked like it was further away. So I basically combined the two references because I liked how Mont Saint-Michel was positioned in the photo on the top one, but then I wanted the ocean floor there in it as well. Okay, let's see if we can start to put in some of, I think what will help us is to put in some of the, you know what? The first thing I see as I come here, so this turret is here, there's a shadow there, but then there is the other side of the same building. So we need kind of this reddish tone, reddish brown. Oh, all my paint is dried. Someday when I have the guts to work in oils, I won't have that problem as much. Excuse me. Okay. What kind of that yellowish tone? Let's see. I think this is too bright. Yeah, we need a little bit darker. Little bit darker. Especially because it's kind of on the shadow side of the island. The other thing that's difficult, I mean, I'm glad to paint this, but the other thing that maybe would have made it easier is if I had been able to get there at dawn or dusk and seen it as, with really high contrast. This was mid-morning and heading toward noon, which is like the kind of the worst time as far as these things are concerned, like getting good reference photos. Again, the thing that will make architecture, especially like this, render or read correctly is to get, sorry, I have to pay attention to what I'm doing here, so that is to get these really sharp lines against the shadow and dark and shadow to to work. So I will have other with oils. Yes, this is true. Primarily the same thing. I'm like, oh, I can't wait till I use oils. Will probably be the thing. I'm like, oh, wish it would dry faster. I wish it wouldn't blend or mix on the canvas. Yeah, it really is just, I mean, you have to figure out what you want and why, what you want to create and what's the best medium to do it. So, yeah, I'm under no illusion that oils will suddenly magically make me something I'm not, which is one reason I started with acrylics, just so I could paint over things very quickly and not have to use oils. Okay, I think that gives us the basic idea, and that turret suddenly bounces out. Now we'll have to go back and make sure that the line on this side is, maybe I can do that real quick. Just mix a little yellow. Make sure the line there is really make sure that it is really sharp as well. That's true. And I probably, when I start, will go, will do the underpainting in acrylic so that I can get it on the canvas quickly. And then I'll probably do the rest in oil. That is what I may try, just because I'm used to working quickly in acrylics. And then so quick, it dries so fast, so fast, so fast. Okay. All right, we're getting there again. Yeah, me too. I like being able to move very quickly through a painting and get multiple layers, not have to do the underpainting, then set it aside, work on another painting, set it aside, work on another painting. You know, that is part of what I appreciate about it. Okay. We have some okay. We'll reestablish this. Yes, I do. He is amazing. Look at yes, yes. I follow him on YouTube, I believe, and probably Instagram. Yeah, it is shocking to me. Like he has a very distinct style and method. If you watch him paint, his his videos are very long, which is cool because you get to see his whole process. But yeah, he is able to create amazing results with acrylics. And I know people can do it. Like, yeah, it's really, I do believe a lot of it is just understanding form and what, you know, and what you want to create. He does a really fantastic job of like like very logical process of layering his the various layers he has or wants to put in. Um, yeah, yeah. He is quite a fantastic artist. For sure. I feel like these are better placed. This comes out into okay. I'm doing kind of a second block in just to get a sense of where the shadows are. All right. roughly, I think this side is in the right place. So I think what we will do is start to wrap up for this evening. So we have done this detail, we have done this detail, we've done this detail. Obviously went around all the areas. We did a little bit of detail in here. I think all the pieces of the major composition up here, because this is where we want the eye drawn. We want it drawn up here. I think all of those pieces are in place, in the right place, roughly. So now, again, it reads really well, even though there's not a lot of detail there. But the next session will be coming in probably next week. We'll do this detail, see if we can get that finished. And if we may be able to even get the whole abbey done, depending on how much, how much detail, because we'll have to reestablish almost all of this. But I feel much better. This needs to be adjusted a little bit, but these are in a much better position than they were when it was just blocked in broad strokes. And I feel this had come out clear over to here. So bringing this in, like, it is much more, the composition is much more correct. And if you look at this across to there, that's about correct. So it really starts to look like it's going on there. I'd like to see you paint more often. Yeah, I am trying to figure out how to incorporate that into everyday life. Maybe I need to do some daytime or impromptu sessions, studio sessions. I'm not sure exactly how to do that. It's hard for people during the day because obviously people are working. I have a little more flexibility in my schedule, but maybe I would catch some people who are, on the other side of the world or are more, are more free during the day. So I would like to do more of this. It's just figuring out a way to block it out consistently. This one is every single Monday night, but it's hard for me to do that another night or also on the weekend or during the day and say every single time I'm going to be here for this. So trying to figure out how to do it. That's one reason I'd like to have a space where people could just pop in, because then if I'm in the studio, but it doesn't have to be, maybe I just need to do that whenever I'm in the studio, I just pop online and do a live stream. We'll see. I want to figure out a way to do more videos. I would do other types of videos, but I'm just not at the level where I can, of course, hire a video editor. And like, video editing takes so much time. Even if you do like a time lapse or something, just takes a lot of work to do. So anywho, that I would love to be able to do more painting. Because even this, after when tonight is done, then I do thumbnails and do adjust, and I have a whole wrap-up process that I usually do the next day. So, all right. I think that's it, y'all. We are going to call it an evening there. Again, next time we'll do this side of the island, and then we'll be getting really close. Then we just have to come down. The last detail will be to redo all the lines on this on the ramparts down here, and make sure all of the lines are really well done. And then we may, I don't know if I'll do any more detail down here in the ocean floor. Doesn't really need it, I don't think, but we will see. So that's kind of the plan going forward. That said, I appreciate all of you who have stuck around this evening. It's been such a joy as always to be with you. And I will bring you back to my main camera here so that I can flip this one around, say goodnight. I guess I could close it from that main camera, but I like to be able to say goodbye to you face to face. I guess it's just habit. All right. All right. So this is where we are. I'll just kind of step to the side. You can see perhaps, well, maybe should hold it up where we are. Oh. Okay, now you can see how big this is when I hold it up. But this is, I'm going to go behind the camera, or behind the painting. This is what the painting will look like when it's done, kind of, or what I'm going for. And then I'll frame it, of course. But it already reads really well and is impressive as it is. So I can't wait to get the rest of it done, because it will, I think it will be one of those pieces that will really stand out on my wall, that I'll be really proud of. Number one, because it's the largest painting that I've ever done, but also because it has personal significance, and it was also a challenge creatively and with skill-wise. It pushed my skill level. So that said, I want to say good night to you all. I hope that you have a wonderful week, and I will see you next week for the 112th episode of the Paint Party live stream at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Until then, I'm looking forward to, I'll see you then. I'm looking forward to seeing you then. Until then, have a great week, and we'll see you next time. Good night.